Hello, guys. We're live streaming again. I missed Monday because I had some family over. So for anybody wondering that, I put it in the Discord, but you know, you guys understand. I know. But yeah, we're doing a 5K. I can't speak today, but we're doing a 5K special today, and we're doing some Q&A. We got some questions from Instagram, Discord, YouTube, all the usual suspects, of course. And yeah, so I just wanted to say at the beginning of this video before I can dive into some questions, we gotta get through these quick. We gotta be done by about 6:30 because I gotta go to the grocery store with my mom. So we're gonna try to get through these, but if we don't, I'll try to answer them in the next stream before we get into whatever we're doing. But hi, Marcus, thank you for the kind words. Hi, Matthew, how are you? And thank you for the kind words as well. Also, answering your question, I will say I was really bummed to hear that Bernard Hill died. He died when I went to go see Phantom Menace, and that was, yeah, it was a rough day. It's one of those few moments where, like, none of the actors that I've really grown up with have died yet, so there haven't been, like, or, like, maybe, like, more of my favorite, I don't know, people in general have like, died, I guess, yet, in terms of, like, the media and stuff like that, and so outside of like Christopher Lee, but yeah, his kind of hit hard. His definitely hit hard. My favorite character, though, I will say from the Lord of the Rings films, it's a tough one because I like a lot of them, but I would probably say Sam. I'm a huge Nazgul fan. I just love the design of them. I love the way they're described in the books. I love the Witch King, hence why I dressed up him as for Halloween. I have his helmet like passed by my black fire thing that you guys can't see on screen. But yeah. Hi, Young Wolf, how are you? Long time viewer as well. Yes, we are definitely growing. We've been growing quite a lot the last like week or two, which is kind of weird. Like, we hit 5,000. I was debating doing the stream on Friday, and then we're already like 50 subscribers over it. So yeah, we're definitely moving. Hi, April, how are you? Hi, Larissa. Hi, Zeno. How are you? You are stuck in one place in Discord, April. That's weird. Hi, Andrew. How are you? You forgot to put the black dragon front and center. Yeah. All right. Also, hi, Ken. How are you? Let's get into some questions. So I wanted to start with a good one because this was my favorite question I got asked. I'm a little biased because I kind of like the questions that are like, you know, I'm a human being. I like the questions that are kind of driven towards me. I do like answering a Song of Ice and Fire questions and other stuff, of course. But I thought these were some very clever questions from Ricky from Voice of Old Town. But I want to get this into your guys' mind. When we do live streams or videos, this is basically the conversations we have like right before streams, which is why I love interacting and doing stuff on his channel. But he asked, what's it like to realize your own ideas? What does being a creator provide for your life? So this is a very big one, because for me personally, when I started doing content creation, when I started doing YouTube, it was kind of something that I really enjoyed to do. It is something that I used as a way of keeping myself busy, or a little bit of kind of like therapy almost to a degree. And so as of like now, it's not exactly that, but it is one of those things where it's like I had two things at a point of my life that were very important to me, and it helps you know, get my mind off things or whatnot. And you know, content creation is one of those, but now I can't do the other thing, which was working out. I can't really, you know, do any of that because of my back and stuff like that. But yeah, so what does it provide for my life? It provides pretty much like, I'm wording this very badly, but it provides a way of just keeping myself busy and doing things I enjoy and all that stuff. But yeah. And the other part of it is in terms of like realizing my own ideas. It's kind of an interesting question because I'm not like he as a creator. He is making like his own type of short films and stuff like that, and I am not doing that. My stuff is mainly looking at topics that are in A Song of Ice and Fire already. So a lot of it is taking some of the stuff that I enjoy in A Song of Ice and Fire and making videos on them. And so one of the biggest things about it that I enjoy on making videos is looking at characters. I specifically like looking at characters, looking at, the way George writes, conflict in characters, weaknesses, strengths in those characters. So personally, I think the part about the ideas that I really enjoy is my character analysis, bringing those characters to life for you guys, trying to make you guys understand who they are and all that stuff. And the other part of it is doing my reread. I really like doing my reread. It kind of helps try to break down the series for people that maybe, haven't read it in a while or have only watched the show. So those are kind of the big ones. And the other question, just so I can finish off on this before I get into some of the comments from chat, and what are your goals for the channel? So goals for the channel, I want to continue to put out House of the Dragon stuff, especially with the season coming out. I want to finish my reread, which will be done by the end of next month, hopefully, if I don't miss any weeks, which I shouldn't. And I want to start doing a Clash of Kings. My goal is to eventually do the entire series and all of that, but that's part of the goals. Goals is just to get better, make better content, things like that, which is always, a good thing. Also interacting with new people, maybe new YouTubers would be cool. I'm going to be doing some stuff right before House of the Dragon comes out with someone I haven't interacted with before, so that should be cool. But, yeah, let me look at chat for a little bit. Also, thank you, Zeno. The channel grew a lot before Season 1 of House of the Dragon, seemed to be growing significantly ahead of Season 2. Yeah, one of the things that Season 1 I will always be thankful for House of the Dragon is Season 1, in a lot of ways, helped my streaming, having an audience for streaming, because I streamed very consistently when House of the Dragon Season 1 came out, and it was by far my most successful streams on this channel, even to now, as the channel's gone bigger. Those are still my most successful streams in terms of average viewers and heights of viewers and all that stuff, but, yeah. Did you watch the recent video of Dragon demands for Winds of Winter? I have not, Can. Happy almost House of the Dragon month. Well, happy. Well, Arya, I'm excited as well. We gotta address Tom Bombadil being in Rings of Power. Hey, you know what? Rings of Power is it's just so bad at this point that, you know what? I'd be cool to see Tom Bombadil. I don't care. I'll die on this hill. Jon Snow's eyes are dark purple. It's hard to tell in the gloomy north and his other dark features. Maybe. Season 2 of House of the Dragon will be even better than Season 1, hopefully. I think it will be, hopefully. Hi, Ashley. How are you? How's it going? How are you doing? Missed you over the streams. Missed you as always. How will Tom Bombadil be in Rings of Power? I have no idea. The story that Rings of Power is doing is so convoluted. It's just, yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm glad you're doing better, Ashley, and I hope everything gets better and all that. Did you see Dan and Dave in an interview where they said they didn't include Lady Stoneheart because it would take away from Jon's resurrection? I actually did. Arya, did you comment this on the YouTube post? Because somebody basically asked this exact thing. I don't remember if it was you or not, but I did see that. And for a while, I kind of understood Dan and Dave's why they did that, because the thing with Dan and Dave is they made Catelyn a much likable character in the show. So the thing with Catelyn is that it hit, I think, even harder for viewers of the show because she was such a protagonist, right? They cut out a lot of the stuff that made Catelyn kind of one of these characters that it's very easy to not like them in terms of how she treats Jon, her decision making, why she does things. I've talked about this quite a lot, right? One of the major things they changed was how Jaime gets released. In the show, it's actually very logical that she released Jaime. We still see it as being bad, but it was very likely that Jaime was going to die that night if she didn't release him. And so her only way of getting her daughters back was through Jaime. If Jaime died, it's, very possible Sansa could have been killed or something like that. So in the show, it comes out very logical for Catelyn to do so. It's still not a great decision, but we still understand it. In the book, it's not logical. It's based off of emotion. It's based off of, the news of Bran and Rickon being dead has reached Catelyn, or at least that they're missing, and she sees no other opportunity to get her children back, and so she releases Jaime, right? It's more of an emotional reaction to the situation, not so much logical. But I do think, a Okay, so I actually read this wrong. I thought you were talking about like the impact of like the idea of Catelyn dying, but more or less the idea with that idea, I don't agree, because we've already seen Beric Dondarrion's resurrection as well. So what does it matter if we also see Lady Stoneheart, right? Because if Beric Dondarrion would have died, you know, bringing Lady Stoneheart back, it shows that there is some sort of you can't just bring people back to life for no reason. And so I think the real reason they cut it is because they didn't see a way of how do you bring back Jon without it having consequences. That's what I think they struggled with. And so I think that's just an excuse. But yeah, no. That video argued that Winds of Winter will be announced on Worldcon in August and will be released this Christmas. It's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. There's been nothing that indicates George has gotten any further on the book. He's not talking positively about it. He doesn't seem excited. Like, if it's going to be announced in, what, 2 months, more or less, don't you think he would be a little bit more positive? Every post he comes out with is negative. Like, the post he talked about today or whatever was, all these shows are not adapting material correctly, which I agree with. By the way, I agree with. But that's not positive, is it? Like, he just feels, you know, it's not, I don't know. I'm still praying that the stranger isn't, in Rings Power isn't Gandalf. He has to be Gandalf at this point. Like, you can't introduce Gandalf's quote at the very end of season 1 and then all of a sudden say it's not Gandalf because it doesn't make sense or whatever. Like, it feels like so cheap then that at this point they should just lean into it's Gandalf, right? It doesn't make sense that it wouldn't be. I wanted it to be the Blue Wizards until they did something stupid and then basically copied Gandalf's quote. But Ashley, I definitely understand. I definitely understand. I lost both my cats, and they were both, like, I had them for majority of my childhood, teenage years, so I definitely get it. Hi, Agor, how are you? I'd even take Saruman. Yeah, but again, that just goes back to the point. You can't just name drop, or you can't just copy Gandalf's quote and then just say it's not Gandalf. It doesn't make any sense. It's Rings of Power, April. Yeah, Catelyn's one of those characters where you either love her or you hate her. And I kind of in that weird thing where it's like, Catelyn is not my favorite character by any means, but I think Catelyn's one of the most interesting characters to read. Thank you, Cheeto. Good job to whoever nuked the bot. Wait, was there a bot in here? I wasn't even like at the chat at that point. Season 2 of House of Dragon will not be good. I'm gonna be watching Rings of Power just out of spite. Oh boy, Ander. Which character ending did the show get right? I think Theon, for the most part, they did a pretty good job with the character. I think it could have been better. It wasn't perfect, but it was one of those where I didn't have a complaint with. I liked that there was a resolution between him and Bran. It felt like his arc actually went somewhere. I agree, Ashley, by the way. Do you like fanfics? What about fan versions? I personally don't like fanfics that much. I just don't. It's the reason I don't do them personally. Like, people have wanted me to continue my, like, rewrites of the seasons. It's just at that point it becomes fanfics at that point. I just don't really want to read them. I want to read George's version of the story. I don't want to read, like, other people's versions of the story. That's kind of how I look at it, I guess. Exactly. They wanted to appeal to the soccer moms out there and the football players and all that. I'm all right, Agor. You know, just I'm all right. I'll just leave it there. Like, I talked about this in the last stream, but so there's two major things. One, my back is not great today because I can't really drive longer than like an hour and a half, 2 hours without my back really hurting, and I'm like feeling it today. So I'm taking a trip in the end of June. And I was going to drive, but I've kind of realized I can't really drive. I can drive for like maybe like half of the 5-hour journey or whatever. But yeah. So there's that. And then also I've been getting back into Fortnite, and I like the no build mode, and the new season's just terrible. Like, it's just genuinely horrible. Cutting Magic, I agree, was bad. Also, I will be probably covering Rings of Power on my second channel, but I have very low expectations. Thank you, Hussein. Hopefully I said that right. I'm not great on name pronunciation, so if I say something wrong, just let me know. What are your opinions on the castings that were announced for Dunk and Egg? Of the ones I've seen, I think I've only seen like Dunk and Egg specifically, and I think they look good. I agree, Arya. Does Greece have a hot date? Wait, what? Ashley, what are you talking about? What did I allude to of having a hot date? I don't, by the way, but yeah. What I allude to, Ashley? Oh, okay, no. So I'm going with my friends, and we're just having like a friend trip. It's not a lady trip. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, Ashley. We ain't taking no ladies. Not today. Not today. All I'll say on the lady front is I got other priorities at the moment. No, not the Fortnite. I'm not addicted to Fortnite. Okay, let's get that straight. I'm not addicted, but like the new season is just not good. I did see that, Young Wolf. I wish Dunk and Egg was animated. I have a feeling they messed up the casting. I don't know. I feel like it's good. Yeah, I get it now. Actually, I read your next comment. That's not. It's not. We're fine. You plan to get any new pets? I would love to in the future. When I like move out and stuff, and when I like get into like my actual job and stuff like that, I do want to get like a German Shepherd or something like that. Do you prefer Jon on the throne or something as in the show? I mean, if it was based upon what I would want, I want young Griff or Stannis on the throne, but that's not going to happen, so. Any other games you've been playing or like to play? The only games I really play, I'll be honest, is like Fortnite, Apex. Like, I feel like some of the battle royales I go back and forth. I like battle royales specifically because when you're playing with your friends, it's a lot of teamwork, it's a lot of communication, it's a lot of like building skills and stuff like that. Plus, I just like battle royales. But I would say there's sometimes it's like a rotation of those, but I don't really play those. They're kind of like seasonal type things. Like, you know, there's like the meme where it's like you go back and you play Minecraft for like 2 weeks. I don't do this, by the way. I don't like Minecraft. But that's kind of how I am with like battle royales. But I don't know. Warzone, I'm not, Blake. I used to be a huge Call of Duty fan. I used to love Call of Duty. And then Modern Warfare came around. I hate the movement system. I hate the I hate everything about new Call of Duty games. I like the old traditional games where it was like a pick 10 class. It was, you know, not crazy, stupid movement. It wasn't, you know, you can turn your headset all the way up to where you can hear everybody on the map. Like, let's not get into that. But I play a little bit of Smite as well, Matthew. But yeah. What are your main hopes for House of Dragon Season 2? I hope we flesh out our characters more. I hope we take the characters that we have that are going to be major focuses of this season and we actually give them more to the characters, right? Because in the first season, it felt like we had so many characters that we didn't really spend a lot of time developing them, right? We felt like, you know, outside of Alicent and maybe like Viserys, those two were written the best, in my opinion. And then you have the others, right? Like Daemon's kind of inconsistently written, Rhaenyra just is kind of one note at times. I don't know. Don't say that about young Griff Ander. He is the Blackfire King. Don't you worry. Do not recommend a Reptile Can. No, absolutely not. Elden Ring. I've never played Elden Ring. It does look interesting. Just never played it. Thank you, Agor. Thank you, Agor. That's all I was gonna say. I am not a single player guy. I do not enjoy video games by myself. All right, so let me get into some more questions. I have not done a great job answering questions. But Ryan asks, how would you want Stannis' story to end with all that's currently happening? So I talk about this a lot. I feel like I talk about this too much almost. But I think Stannis' perfect ending has always been, you know, we have him being this character that he's for, it seems like, the realm. He's gone north to protect his kingdoms. I would like to see him going out, you know, protecting the realm. Right? You know, defending the North from the others while the rest of the living try to regroup and try to, in the long term, defeat the others. I think that's a good ending for the character. Gerlin Two Finger asks, is Merlin the singer Littlefinger's creature? Um, from the beginning of the story, no. This is a very broad question because he's definitely not at the very beginning. At the very beginning, it just seems like a chance encounter, and then he goes to the Vale. Once he goes to the Vale, he kind of sticks around there. I think it's very possible that yes. Cam is an interesting one. Arya is Mance Raider. I don't know about that one, but interesting. Larissa, who is in the chat right now, asks, okay, so we're gonna have some House of the Dragon spoilers. So if you don't want House of the Dragon spoilers, the next two questions I have are gonna be House of the Dragon like spoilery. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, you may want to come back in like 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever. If you're watching this back, giving you your warning. So Larissa's basic question is, do you think they will follow Rhaenyra's book death, or will they change it? I hope they just keep it to the book. I think the book is a perfectly good ending for Rhaenyra's character. I think it's a good spot. I don't see any reason to change it, but who knows, given she is like the main character, and how will people react to Rhaenyra as she slowly becomes less and less of a good character, I guess. It'll be interesting to see how they do that, but yeah. Dom asks, in season 2 of House of Dragon, how epic do you think the dragon fight at Rook's Rest is going to be? I think it's going to be really awesome, right? Given that this is going to be the main battle of season 2, this is where a lot of the budget's going to be, a lot of the big moments, right? There's a reason we're not going to get the Battle of the Gullet in this season, and this is kind of why, because having both of those battles is going to be very difficult to do in one season. So I think that we are probably going to get a very epic battle. It seems like it's already being teased. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, I believe that's all of my Instagram questions. So we are done on Instagram. I'll probably do Discord next, and then we'll finish with YouTube questions. Stop everything and get lost in the Elden Ring. See, that's another problem though, is I am someone that has a very addictive personality. So when I play games, right, I do not want to lose. I want to be very good at it. I want to like be the best. So that's gonna take a lot of time, right? Like for instance, Battle Royale games, when I start playing them, I like to be very good at them. I like to know what guns are the best. I like to know how to win because I have a very addictive personality. I do not like losing. So getting into something like Elden Ring, which is a huge game and stuff like that, it just, I don't know. I feel like I don't have the time to put into a game like that, but I don't know, maybe at some point. Do you think the Hound will show up to the Turning the Veil as a mystery knight and crown Lyanna Queen of Love and Beauty? I do not think so, Richard. I think Sandor is going to be one of those characters where there's going to be some event that's going to push him to go somewhere else, right? If he comes back into the main story, it's going to be something like how the show did it, where it's going to be something that pushes him into the main story, whether that's with the Brotherhood Without Banners, whether that's, Arya spotting, whatever that is. That's what's going to end up happening. It definitely made Daemon more of a villain than he was in the books. Agreed. I was not a big fan of that. And to a degree, like House of the Dragon is kind of picking out what you think actually happened, right? Like that, I have my own version of how I think things happen. So in a lot of ways, you're kind of right on that. That Daemon choking Rhaenyra scene was the worst. I 100% agree. I hated that scene. Like I get where they were coming from, but because again, I just don't like the whole Aegon's dream thing being such a big pivotal role in this whole season 1. That scene just was like, okay, well, he never told Daemon, which is why Daemon's upset. But why is he choking Rhaenyra for stuff that Viserys did? Like, it's just weird. But yeah, also I have another Stannis video coming out Friday, I think, but it's like a bonus video because it was a response to the video I put out on Saturday or something like that. But yeah, you guys are gonna get a lot of videos. I have 5 videos coming out. No, 4 videos coming out in a row for just normal viewers, and then I have 5 for members in a row. So yeah, that'll be interesting. That's a good point, April. Like, how will Rhaenyra act now after this, like, choking scene? Like, will they be more distant, more separate? How is that going to work? If Stannis goes out, like, do you think he'll be revived as a white? Maybe he could become, like, a Night King. Yeah, that's the way I think. If we're going to get a Night King, it's going to be because somebody's going to look like the Night King, not because he is the Night King like the show. Where it's going to be Stannis revived with his crown and his dead body type thing. I agree, Arya, though, on the death stuff. Mario Party? I've never been like a Mario type person in general, but I respect it. I don't think that Rhaenyra's death should be heroic, like, at all. Like, her death in the books is not heroic at all, for instance, right? I think, you look at the war. It's not a heroic conflict. We're seeing a lot of innocents will be killed. I don't think it should be this romanticized thing, right? Think about the way, like, Aegon's gonna die, for instance. That's also not a very heroic death either. So, I don't know. I think just keeping it as a very, blunt death is good. We used to be, yeah, I will still be, Jeff. This series has impacted me, like, in a personal level way too much to ever not be a fan of this series. Right? Like, for instance, season 8, it destroyed Game of Thrones. It broke Game of Thrones. It was terrible, but I still love Game of Thrones. I will recommend it to everyone. Even though the last couple seasons are bad, I always loved, those first 5, I'd say 4, but I like elements of the 5th season, and even into the 6th, I like some elements of season 6, but it's not, it's not that good. It's still not good. But even if it never gets finished, Jeff, I will still like the series. Have you ever considered uploading games? I have a feeling your other channel will be Rockative or even streaming. So Hussein, a little bit of a note is, I actually did that at one point. Before this channel started, even when this channel started, if you go back to the very beginning of videos, were gaming, right? There were gaming videos on this channel, and there still are. But I did gaming for so long, and I did it in a certain amount of games. I streamed games. Now, granted, it would be different if I did it now. I know, for one, like now, how to make video quality better. I know how to do certain things to make it look better. And, having better audio and stuff like that. But streaming games, I think, and doing videos for games, it changes the feeling of how you play games. For me personally, just because of my competitive nature in terms of things like, I want to, get good games or get things, and it changes the dynamic when you record it, because it's harder to just say, oh yeah, you're not recording or anything like that. Like, it puts extra pressure on gaming. Like, I would love to do that, but there's not enough hours in the day, right? With me uploading on this channel, for like 5 times now, because I do member only videos 5 times a week, doing like 2 or 3 live streams a week on this channel. Just not enough time in the day. I'd love to do it, but it just, as of right now, I just don't have the time to do it. Good, Larissa. Hopefully that'll build up that dynamic of reasons we're gonna see why Rhaenyra and Daemon maybe have kind of more of a fallout. Maybe Reese, but I think it could have been handled a lot better. I get what you mean, though. Well, Ari, the thing is, though, Rhaenyra already isn't like Book Rhaenyra, right? Like, Book Rhaenyra and Show Rhaenyra are completely different. Like, they just are not the same characters. One of my big complaints of season 1 is that Rhaenyra was not as fiery as she is in the book. There wasn't like that part of Rhaenyra that was kind of the Cersei side of her, or kind of the worst version of Catelyn side of her. That's one of my biggest issues. Fair enough, Cheeto. I mean, I can do both, right? And it helps with actually, like, coming up with video ideas in terms of just consuming those contents, but I don't know. Ashley, why are we coming in here with the hate? I know why, but, like, I'm just saying. You think Rhaenyra will stay with Daemon to the end? No, I don't think so, Arya. All right, so let's move on. Let's do some Discord questions because I got to get through these in the next half an hour. So hopefully we can do that. Shouldn't be too bad. All right, Wheezy asks, do you think the Three-Eyed Crow and Bloodraven are one and the same? This is such a difficult question, and you asked a lot of magic questions in the Bran storyline specifically, which is probably my, outside of Essos, this is like my most inconsistent. Like, I struggle with answering questions like this because I just don't really have a strong opinion on it. But I would say no. But I think Bloodraven is a big part of that, like, training of Bran in terms of, I think Three-Eyed Crow is using Bloodraven to kind of teach Bran those things. So I would say they're probably different entities, right? Because you have to think Bloodraven had to have been getting some sort of dreams or getting some sort of knowledge as to why he should end up coming north of the wall with the Night's Watch and, coming to this cave. Like, there seems a little bit too much suspicion there that was just Bloodraven by himself. If Bran is a past-altering Hodor thing, and if Euron was contacted by Bloodraven, could their powers be similar, and we see Euron manipulate the past too? I do think their powers could be very similar, right? It seems like that's kind of what we're building up to, but I think the one thing that Bran will have, if he does have that past-altering thing, is he has more kind of training to it. He'll understand how to do it. I don't think Euron will be able to do that. So I think that's one thing I will disagree on. Wheezy asks, what's your favorite line in the story? My favorite line is always going to be from Stannis himself. It's one of my favorite lines. I think it illustrates a lot of different meanings, but it's one good act does not wash out the bad, and neither the bad the good. My favorite line. Because it's not saying, it's not a line, the way I interpret the line is like taking accountability for your actions, right? It's why Stannis loves Davos so much. Because Davos accepts that he did something wrong in terms of smuggling, and he paid that crime for that. But he also, that's not defining him as a person, right? Your bad actions don't define you, but neither do just your good actions either, right? Because you've also done bad things. You're doing all these good actions, and something that I really think about a lot is, think about people that maybe they do some bad actions, but then they make up for it by doing, charity, or they try to donate money, and because it just makes them feel better, right? It makes you feel better about your morality, your ethics. And what Stannis is saying in this quote, and what George is trying to write in this quote, is that doesn't wash out those bad actions you did, whether that's you did something to somebody else that was not great, or this or that. I think that's a really powerful quote. I think it's really powerful for, people. I think one of the biggest issues, one of the things I hate the most in people is people that do not take any accountability for their actions. The people that don't own up to things. And I think one of the reasons I hate that so much is when I was younger, I really was not about that. I wasn't, accountable for my health. I wasn't accountable for certain things. So I really hate that person, or I hate that trait in people. So I really like that quote from Stannis. It's probably my favorite. But yeah, let me know down in chat, what is your favorite quote from the story? Sorry, Greasy, you forgot yourself. That's right, Ashley, you forgot your show, or you forgot yourself. We have to somewhat pay attention to Game of Thrones show now because the rest of the television shows are tied to that continuity now. Yes, that is true. We all know Maegor did nothing wrong. He was a true Stannis, the manus of his age. Amen. I made a video, not on this exact topic, but I made a video on Maegor this week that you guys are going to love. I haven't edited it yet, but all I'm going to say is Maegor is overhated. That's all I got to say. Arya, I wouldn't mind it, but it's going to be how they would do it. What is the execution like, Arya? That's what's really important. I think about that Stannis line all the time. Oh, by the way, thank you, Ben. Yeah, it's my favorite line. It's one of those lines, even though Stannis is not the same character he is in the show, it's one of the reasons, like, that I loved Stannis, even in the show, was because of that line. that line is just such a powerful line to me. And there's so many good ones, right? You could look at Aemon's line to Jon about love and duty and stuff like that. That's another fantastic line. There's so many good lines. Book 1 specifically has a ton of good lines, but that's my favorite one personally. Hey, Ashley, you know what? Rhaenyra is under a lot of stress. She makes some bad decisions every once in a while. Also, Matthew, we love to see that. We love to see that. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't already. Of course, gotta be doing that. Speaking on quotes that stick out to me from the books, the biggest one is from Sansa. She chugged buttermilk to settle her stomach. Very weird because you do that right as I did the Sansa chapter Tuesday. Check out that if you haven't watched it yet. Why didn't Renly march in King's Landing right away? Is he stupid? Jesse, so I made a video about this because I agree with you. I think Renly's very stupid to actually have gone against Stannis. Not because Renly shouldn't have won, right? Like, I'm not looking at this as in hindsight, but I'm just saying, if you're Renly, you want to avoid being a kinslayer, right? And you want to just avoid Stannis until the last possible moment, right? Because Stannis just, it's not good, right? Becoming a kinslayer, really bad thing and all that stuff. Also, if we want to even just say, why didn't Renly just send Randall Tarley and like 10,000 men? 10,000 men, go take out Stannis. You have more men than Stannis does by a lot. You kill him that way. And Renly just marches on King's Landing. That's all he had to do. But I think Renly was too personal to him. He needed to personally be the one that put Stannis out of his misery, I guess. Yeah. Okay, Ghost, you need to calm down. You keep putting treason like that in the chat, and I'll have to mute you. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say, Ghost. Love you, but Rhaenyra treason will not stand. Will not stand. I'm very excited for when me and Voice of Old Town do our streams, and every stream it's going to be, oh, you know, this was a pretty bad act by the Black Camp, and I'm going to be like, nope. Nope. All of it was justified. Rhaenyra, Daemon, they can do no bad. It's possible, Walter. I just don't think Euron's going to get dragons because I think he's going to get krakens. I think giving him all the magical stuff is just, I don't know. I don't know. Maegor made the coolest shit in King's Landing, no doubt. I agree. Your thoughts on Stannis turns to be the Night King? You basically be one of the commanders of the others. Is I don't agree. I don't think he'll be like some Night King force like he was, or like how it was in the show. I think he would just be some white that kind of gives the allure of, because he looks like Stannis, of being like a leader type, but he doesn't have any actually powers. God bless Maegor the Just, 100%. You think Daemon is a Maegor reborn, but not as crazy? They both make similar decisions and actions throughout their life. Yeah, I think they share a lot of similarities. I've done that in my character analysis. I really compare Aemond, Maegor, and Daemon a lot because they have very similar lives, right? But yeah, I do think so. Yeah. Maegor is dumb. He had a dragon and still had to fight a war with the Faith. Fëanor Tarly simply rode into the Sept in an act of the highest order. I mean, Maegor torched them all and basically bent them over and spanked them and said, yeah, you have no weapons now. So, is Maegor dumb? I don't know. But yeah, Cheeto, that is very funny. Yesterday I really started on what the hell did Beric give Cat why the hell did Beric give the Cat's life? Why was she so significant? So, it's one of those things where Catelyn is just this figure that is she's a Stark, she's a very important person. Beric would probably feel obligated to do so, given that Ned was the one that sent him out on this mission to bring the mountain in. I think a lot of it would be just kind of an honor/duty thing, that Catelyn is so important. If you were a lord during the Blackfire Rebellion, would you side with the true King Daemon or the usurper Daeron the Bastard? It would very much depend, because I honestly wouldn't side with either. I wouldn't side with either. It's too risky to side with either, right? I would just sit back and watch. I would sit back and watch. I'd watch the fireworks. But it also would depend where I am. Like, what part of the world am I living in? Also, Larissa, thank you for gifting a membership. Whoever has become a member, welcome. Welcome, Ben. Welcome. Oh God, I just saw Luke's question. Okay, I'm gonna get to your question here in a second, Luke, because that's a wild one. George's best writing, describing in awful detail about Danny's bowel movements. Yep. Oh boy, here we go. So, OG Thwompy, by the way, co-founder of the channel, by the way. You know, you don't see him, but he is a co-founder of the channel. What's better, Game of Thrones Season 8 or Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 3? They're both bad. I'll say Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 3 just because, like, there's some stuff that's enjoyable. I like the crossbow. I could see the vision. It just didn't work. But Season 8 is just a dumpster fire, so, yeah. Do you still like the books as when you first read them? Honestly, I don't really care for some of them anymore. For A Song of Ice and Fire, I still like all the Song of Ice and Fire books. Yeah. I don't, like, they definitely change depending on how I'm reading them, but I still like them all. Like, I don't have any, like, problems with them. Like, Fellowship of the Ring, right? Still my favorite book. It doesn't matter how much time goes on or whatever, it's still my favorite book. Oh my god, I can't keep up with chat and answer questions. Do you think Magor would be as big as the mountain? I'm gonna say no. All hail Greece, first of his name, king of the YouTube and protector of the Phantom. Yes, that's right. Rhaenyra is driven to her perceived madness by what the Greens did early on in the war. Exactly, Walter, exactly. Hi, Dakota, how are you? The late Lord Grease. Damn straight, damn straight. We know Greece is a fray, of course. Of course. Hey, the Freys are pretty respectable. That's all I'm gonna say. Who'd win a debate, Tyrion Lannister or Ben Shapiro? Ooh, that's a good one. I think Ben Shapiro would talk too fast. Or no, Tyrion. You said Tyrion. Okay. I would still say Ben Shapiro. I think Ben would just talk too much. I think he would be yapping too much. Oh, he likes crossbows too. Very Frey of you. Okay. All right. All right. Song of Ice and Fire were the first books I read. Seriously, they kind of ruined. Ben, how, like, when did you read them? When did you read them? I don't think Stannis would be like a great king, but I think he'd be a solid king. He reminds me a lot of Maekar, and Maekar was a solid king. If I had Lady Stoneheart hunting you down, what would you do? I would say, what would I do? I don't even, just go to the Lannisters, hide with the Lannisters, be like, hey, there's this Catelyn woman following me, and she's gonna try to kill me at some point. So can you guys just kill her? You know. 14. Oh, okay, I can't say much. I watched the show and I was around that age, so yeah, okay, fair enough. All right, we got to get to some questions. All right, let's go to YouTube. Let's burn through some YouTube questions right now because I got some very limited time to do this. All right, community. Put out 2 posts. Let's look at the first post. What do we got on the first post? Matthew Stewart, who was in the chat, asks, outside of A Song of Ice and Fire, Tolkien, and Star Wars, what are some of other fictional worlds you enjoy? All right. I like Percy Jackson, Harry Potter. Those are pretty much the big ones. Those are like the big 5 right there. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I can't think of any right now. But those are the ones I like. Jim says, congrats, you've built up a lot since I joined you at 40 subscribers. My guy, he's an OG. Appreciate you. Cameron asks, do you think Jaime will have a bigger role in the battle against the dead, possibly getting a sword forged to his golden hand and using 2 swords? I don't think he'll play a big role in the battle against the dead. I think his big role will be against Cersei and kind of that whole fallout. Um, Ian asks, always had the idea of this character archetype called the not so chosen one. Stannis and Mace Windu are the two examples I always think of. Either by their own beliefs or someone else's influence, they've concluded that they're the one. Can you think of other examples or in other chosen one stories or certain characters I should keep an eye out for when looking for other examples? Ian, that's a very interesting question. I don't know. I can't think of any examples in which I would go, this person thought they were a chosen one, but they really weren't the chosen one type situation. I guess you could maybe look at like the character of Luke Skywalker. Like, they're not really the chosen one. Anakin's the chosen one, but kind of Luke is perceived as the chosen one based off like Yoda and Obi-Wan. So I don't know. I guess that'd be my example for you. But yeah. Ashley asks, who's the one character excluded from the show that you wish had to be included? It doesn't have to be the character who would have had the most impact, just the one you wanted to see. I would have wanted to see young Griff. I wanted to see the Blackfire element of the story if he is Blackfire, and they just didn't. Hopefully we'll see the Blackfire stuff with Duncan Egg, which we should. But yeah, I think just Blackfire stuff in general. What are you most looking forward to, or sorry, this is a question from Agor. What are you most looking forward to in Winds, in addition to other possible books and such as Dream and Fire and Blood Part? I'm most looking forward to in Winds I mean, I can answer. Let me just knock two birds out with one stone. Very similar to Ashley's question. Fire and Blood Part 2, I want to learn more about the Blackfire rebellions we don't know as much about. We know a good amount about the Blackfire rebellions, the first two, but I want to know more about like the third, the fourth one. The War of the Nine Penny Kings. I'd love to learn more about that from Fire and Blood Part 2, and then also a little bit of that history from like John Con, Young Griff, all that stuff. That would be what I'm most looking forward to. Very fitting since it's, your Agor. But yeah. Let me get to my second post, and I'll look at chat for a second. Okay. Where did I leave off here? Who do you think ends Dream for Spring as king? Well, this is the problem, right? Is that George has basically stated that he told D&D who was going to be on the throne by the end, and it turned out to be Bran. So as of right now, I think the most likely option is Bran, unless he changes it. My first ever book series I read was Magic Treehouse. I feel like that was my first as well, Arya. That's the first I can remember outside of like Percy Jackson and Harry Potter. So, yeah. Will you be checking out the Harry Potter TV series? It's apparently releasing in 2026. Yes, I definitely want to. Movie franchises. Marvel. I should have put Marvel in there. Marvel's a good one. Lord of the Rings, Batman, or the Dark. I should specifically say the Dark Knight. That trilogy. That's the ones I can think of right now. Check out The Boys. I've seen a lot of clips of it, but yeah, I'll have to look into it at some point. I'm so far behind in chat. So far behind. I'm so far behind. Where am I even at right now? I'm struggling right now. I'd pick Victarion or well, obviously you'd pick Darkstar. Okay, you've got a crush on Darkstar, so it's fine. Why do I think they will make no, they won't make the Blackfires evil. They're not evil. They won't do it. Fair enough, Ben. Who has a better story than Bran? Me. Literally everyone. That is exactly what I said, Ari. I can vividly remember, like, just, like, yelling at the television, like, who has a better story than Bran? There's, like, 7 other characters in this shot that have a better story than Bran. Like, Edmure hasn't even been in most of these seasons and has a better character arc than Bran. Bran? Okay. Bloodraven is far more sinister than any of the initial Blackfires. I 100% agree. 100%. I lived and breathed Star Wars. I lived in Star Wars for my entire life, and I watched The Last Jedi and had Carrie Fisher pass on in real life, only to watch her legacy be burned and yeah, I was a huge prequel fan. I won't say I was I was a huge Star Wars prequel fan. When I was growing up, those movies were made for my generation. They were made for, like, me, more or less. I love those movies. I still love them to death, even now. I saw the Phantom Menace when it came back in the theaters. Love that movie so much. Darth Maul's sick. Qui-Gon's sick. Don't care what anybody says. It's a good movie. All those that deny that are my foes, and they have bad taste. But yeah, Star Wars is just bad. Star Wars, I already knew Star Wars is screwed, but then I was like, okay, I started coming out with these shows, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi show is something I was really looking forward to because prequel characters were coming back, and boy, did they fuck that up good. Holy cow, that is the, like, Rings of Power is bad, okay? Rings of Power is bad. But at least with the Rings of Power, I can go, huh. You know, they had a lot they had to kind of put into this story. It was a much tougher process than an Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I can give them some passes. But holy cow, how did they fuck up bringing Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back? How did they fuck it up? It still baffles me to this day. It's it's possibly the worst show that's ever come out. Like, it's terrible. Attack of the Clones, I like the movie. I still, because I have a bias, I like the movie. I realize its flaws and all that, but I like the movie. It runs laps around Obi-Wan Kenobi. Thank you, Dakota. I forgot I had my desktop audio on, so I got to hear that all through. Maybe you guys heard that through my mic, but hey, you gotta love, you know, Rob dying. Thank you, Dakota. I appreciate you though. Yeah, Reva was a terrible actress, or not actress. Reva was a terrible character. The actress did not do a very good job with Reva. I don't know if that was what they were giving the actress. She was overacting the hell out of those scenes. They were not good. Yeah, I can't watch season 7 and 8 of Thrones seriously anymore. Bran just kills me every time he speaks. I agree. He's terrible. Who would you have cast for feast/dance characters or characters that weren't in the show? Andrew, I have no idea. I don't know enough actors that would be good for that. I don't know. It would not be good for that. I've awoken the trauma. We could do a whole rant on Star Wars. Star Wars is just dog shit. I'm excited for the Star Wars Acolyte show next week, personally. Like, this is my thing. I cannot be excited for a Star Wars show ever again. They've lost complete faith with me. Like, it's the same as, like, it's almost there with Marvel. Except Marvel, I'm like, I can see that, like, certain projects are going to be good because they have different teams around them. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, Deadpool, I think all those are going to be fine. But Star Wars, I have no faith in them to do any type of project good. They have lost all continuity. They've lost all faith. They've lost all of my respect. Oh, I don't know. Excuse me, long live the king. I love Rob too, but you can't deny that is a fantastic donation alert. You cannot deny it. I made that, like, at the very beginning of when I started streaming, and it's still to this day great. God, Bran sucks. That's all I gotta say. Mano season 3 was very sad. I watched the first season and I thought it was, like, good, but it wasn't great. And then I just didn't watch anymore. So, you know. The Obi-Wan show the Obi-Wan show didn't feel weird, Arya. It was just bad. It was just bad. Like, there's nothing good about the Obi-Wan show. It breaks all continuity of any semblance between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. It breaks all continuity. It makes no logic at all. Nothing that any of the characters do make any logic. It all falls completely flat. The dialogue is terrible. The actors, outside of, like, Ewan and the few times I see Hayden Christensen, are just terrible. I mean, it's just bad. It's baffling how bad most of the scenes are. But we gotta stop. We gotta stop. All right, let me get through the rest of these YouTube comments, and then we can kind of, you know, fuck around and find out, you know? So Jim, no worries on not being able to make it today. I hope good training, your new hire goes well. But thank you for the kind words. User JY says, what are your thoughts on D&D's reason for not... So I already talked about this earlier in the stream, but it's stupid, it's an excuse, and it's just them being lazy, like usual. Thank you for the kind words, Ryan. In your preferred ending, who sits on the Iron Throne? Who would be canned of the king/queen? Karen, in my perfect world, which won't happen, it would be Stannis and Davos. Ghost, thank you for the congrats. And my question is, what do you think the others truly want? That's a tough question. A part of me thinks they want to reproduce, things like that. A part of me just says they don't have anything they truly want, really. We have been not really given an indication as to suggesting they want something. We do know they are like sentient, like they can communicate, they understand emotions, things like that based on the first chapter, but there's nothing that like I can say that answers that question well because we just don't have enough information to come to an actual conclusion. I know people make videos and have their own ideas, but like, I don't know. There's not much to really go off of. So Guccio, first question is, would you be surprised if it turns out that all the prophecies are just red herrings at the end of the day? It would not. I think that fits George a lot. Or if those prophecies are like misread, like kind of like Star Wars, like the Chosen One prophecy or whatever, and how the Jedi Order more or less thought that it was one thing and it wasn't. I could see that happening, right? Like the Azora High prophecy is completely wrong. It's completely different meaning, all that stuff. I definitely think that's possible. And another question is, do you think the abandoned tower at Winterfell where the twincest happened has other significance? I suspect that the Tower of Joy is a cover story because hiding Lyanna and Rhaegar and Dorne during times of upheaval and after spurning his wife, a daughter of Dorne just doesn't make sense. Maybe they were actually hiding in the Winterfell Tower all along. I can't. Okay, here's my big problem with this once again. My big problem is, how the hell did nobody see Rhaegar, a Targaryen prince who dresses very fashionably, I might add, it looks like a Targaryen. Nobody saw him. Not a single person in Winterfell sees him. It's the same issue I have with the Shara Dane. You can't have very recognizable people just get in places where they really should not be. It's very suspicious that they're here and nobody recognizes it. It's never brought up ever again. It just doesn't make any sense. Like King's Landing, for instance, right? King's Landing is this place where there's millions of people, but there's so many spies that people always know where like Ned Stark is, where this character is, what Tyrion's doing, what Tyrion's not doing, whatever. Stuff like that. It's just very hard for me to believe that nobody would have ever saw him. Holy cow. Thank you, Larissa and Dakota, for gifting memberships. I appreciate you guys. Welcome new members to the channel. You guys are just completely awesome. Love you guys. But welcome Fizzle, Quentin. Oh god, not a Quentin. Not a Quentin. Quentin's dead, by the way. Let's just put that out there. Metal, P and Mario. Welcome. Let's make the chat more green. Oh boy. But thank you guys. You think Jack and Hagar is Rhaegar? I do not. I think Rhaegar's dead. I don't know how Rhaegar wouldn't be dead. He was seen like killed by multiple people, but maybe he could have been like mirrored or something or like that. Something like that. I don't know. But yeah. Well, Larissa and Dakota, you've now given me I gotta redo my banner thing for videos, but thank you guys. I appreciate you guys a ton. You guys are awesome. But yeah. So that is all my questions. I wanted to take a, do you think Rhaegar's a pedo? 100%. He's completely sus. I just saw that Ander, and I agree. So I want to say before we get, we leave for the stream, because I do gotta go do some things. Just take a appreciation for you guys. Appreciate all of you guys for, taking the time to hang out with me in streams and all that. Appreciate you guys. And, hopefully we'll have a great time with House of the Dragon. And it'll be a good time. So I will see you guys all in the next stream, probably on Friday. And I'll be seeing you guys on the videos as well. But,